Guys, welcome back to another one. Today we got Jimmy Harrow. We got the truth about Bronny James playing in the NBA. Hey, but we get into the video, make sure you subscribe. Let's go ahead and check this out.
In the books, there is one major discussion that has dominated the NBA space over the last week. It isn't about the number 1 overall pick. It isn't about the outlook of these teams going into next season. It's about a late second-round pick. And for good reason, because his name is LeBron James. And he's going to play in the NBA with LeBron James. It's a weird and unprecedented circumstance that the NBA has never encountered before. A player who many fans consider...
Some excuses, but I'm like, there's still actually some truth. Like, he's showing that he showed that he's been working. Like, he's been showing it. Even in some of the camp, like, especially that camp for the NBA League, the combine thing, the numbers he showed it, he was getting good stuff. His jumper, like, the potential is being shown. Y'all just be able to hate a little bit more than y'all supposed to just because the pops. The dad that always gets hate already. So just go join the hate even more on him. But quit acting like people ain't really been getting, it's like you said, it's been years. It's been since the lifetime of that being somebody being a favorite over somebody else. That's always been a thing. Wherever they saying some nepotism, whatever y'all want to say. Bronny is always showing that he has worked and he has progressed over the years. And then that little incident that happened, that can really mess you up. They did a cardiac arrest. My boy dropped to the floor. That can mess you up. You have to get back right physically, mentally. It was somebody could have possibly died. Y'all got some nerve to hate on this dude because you're talking about what happened in college. He was coming off. This is coming off the year you were saying, because he only averaged 4 or 5 points. That's the year after the thing just happened. You still gotta get right. You gotta get fully back. You gotta get fully back before you gotta give him like what, 2 years, something like that. Y'all got on him already hating and talking crazy. But this young dude, only after a year after it just happened. And he's still, for something like that to happen, in fact, he's gotten back, and he's going to keep getting better, because he will. Especially y'all keep talking like this, y'all just going to make him work even harder to prove y'all wrong. So whoever y'all don't hop back on the train when he start playing good though. Yeah, I gotta keep that same energy.
To be the greatest of all time, playing in the NBA with his own son. A story so strange, you'd think the NBA scriptwriters outsourced their work to ChatGPT, picked the most batshit result, and called it a day. But after 2 years of speculation, we now know with certainty that Bronny James will be an NBA player. And right on cue, the criticism of his merits and value as a future player in the NBA have already came pouring in. Scouts and GMs claiming Bronny as a prospect isn't even worth using a late second-round pick on, and that the real value lies in his last name and the leverage it comes with. But how about...
And there's so many like, why y'all care so much? Y'all were not wearing... This draft, it's probably the draft. These brothers, there's some good players. But they probably just ain't, the name just ain't booming this year for the draft from the college. There ain't been so many names that's popping, but like, come on, bro. Was y'all really worried about? Was y'all really worried? Because quit y'all be worried about it now. Was y'all really worried about them some second round pick until you see Bronny getting picked, and now I want to make all this one and back and forth mess, crying, talking about favoritism, all this stuff. Because it's just LeBron James' son. Y'all were not worried about, I can guarantee y'all was not worried about no second round until he came over and got drafted. Come on, miss me all that, bro.
Valuable is a second-round pick, really? And is Bronny a legitimate NBA player, or is he only in conversation solely because of who his dad is?
He got picked. Stop.
Who do you want to play with?
Y'all just be worrying about the first round. And then you probably get lucky and they might be somebody could maybe pop out. It came out the second round, maybe. You get lucky. But majority, you were seeing just the first round. That's all most people would know. Unless you're like a die-hard basketball player that's worrying about the second round, people. Other than that,
I gotta be on the floor with Bronny.
Y'all do not be worrying about no first round. So stop. Y'all not be worrying about no.
Today's video is sponsored by SeatGeek. Well, the rest, me, download the 3-time All-Star. This is Ken Griffey Jr., son of Ken Griffey. And in 1990, these two did one of the coolest things a father and son can possibly do. They played in the MLB together. And when I say together, I don't just mean they played in the MLB at the same time. They were on the same team. In fact, they weren't just on the same team, they shared the same outfield with each other. It's probably the rarest and most badass thing you'll ever see in sports. Making it to the big leagues is one thing, but playing in the big leagues next to your kid is a club exclusive to only these two. And if that wasn't incredible enough, on September 14th, 1990, the Griffeys pulled off something that you will never see again in your lifetime.
Put an inch back up there now.
That's still crazy.
Well hit to center field.
You actually still playing.
Gone! A 2-run home run.
But you still playing still with your pops. So.
And he hits one over left center field. Dante Bichette. Back-to-back home runs.
What else can these guys do?
The Griffeys were great, and they were the first and only father-son duo in the history of Major League Baseball. But they weren't the first father-son duo in professional sports. This is Gordie Howe, one of the greatest players to ever touch the ice. He won 4 Stanley Cups, 6 MVPs, held the NHL record for total career points at the time of his retirement, and is a member of the NHL's 100th anniversary team. Gordie had an incredible pro career as a hockey player. And yet, out of all of his accomplishments, the coolest thing he ever did was this. This is Mark and Marty Howe, Gordie's sons, and he played professional hockey with them in both the WHA and the NHL for 5 seasons. Now, if you're thinking, that guy looks a little old to be playing professional sports, you're right. Gordie began his career in the NHL in 1946 when he was just 18 years old. By the time he retired for good, he was 51. A career that stretched from the 1940s to the 1980s. And only with a career like this can a player even have a shot at playing in the league together with their son. Why exactly am I talking about home runs and Gordie Howe? Well, because they're awesome, but also because of these two and what they're about to accomplish in their own sport. LeBron and Bronny James, who are on track to being the first father and son duo to play together in the NBA, an idea that seemed far-fetched when LeBron first mentioned it years ago, but has now become a reality. But how legitimate is Bronny's spot in the league? And is the backlash towards the Lakers selecting him with a second-round pick in the draft warranted? Well, to answer this question, we first need to know just how good Bronny is as a prospect and as an incoming NBA player. Right now, NBADraft.net has Bronny rated at an 88 overall across their 12 prospect metrics. This overall rating puts Bronny on the lower end of all second-round picks and future prospects over the last 3 years, but well within range of your typical mid to late first-rounder. Now, here are Bronny's numbers during his 1 season of college basketball. 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists a game on 47, 30, 69% shooting splits. Now, these numbers, especially from a relatively undersized guard, do not scream NBA potential. But for perspective, here are the average collegiate stats from every late second-round pick that played college basketball over the last 5 years. And even when compared to late second-round picks, Bronny's numbers aren't nearly as impressive. In fact, Bronny is arguably the least productive college prospect in NBA history. Here is a list of every player in the entire history of the NBA to be selected in the first 2 rounds of the draft that averaged less than 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists a game in college. And that's it. Just 3 players who were selected in the NBA draft with college numbers equal to or less than Bronny's college numbers. Pair that with the fact that these prospects had at least the benefit of having NBA frames and physical tools to be potentially built off of, and the case for Bronny warranting a pick in the NBA draft becomes more and more difficult to make. But to really demonstrate exactly where Bronny falls amongst other second-round picks, here is a chart of every college basketball player selected in the second round of the draft over the last 10 years, with box plus minus on the x-axis and minutes per game on the y-axis. 298 selections spanning 10 drafts. More than half of these players not even in the NBA today. Where's Bronny? He's right here. Most late draft picks, even the guys who go on to not even make a roster in the league, were first or maybe second options in their college program. Bronny, on the other hand, was an undersized rotational player on a sub-500 team. It doesn't take an NBA scout to know that Bronny James's collegiate career wasn't that of your typical second-round draft pick. But how good is the typical second-round pick? With the rise of second-round sleepers in recent history, most notably players like Nikola Jokic, Jalen Brunson, Herb Jones, and Jordan Clarkson, the potential value of a second-round pick in the NBA draft is about as high as it's ever been. With the help of advanced metrics, the curtain has been pulled back on the value even a solid role player can provide to a winning team. Prospect scouting has gotten more comprehensive than ever before, and these second-round picks have held considerable weight within recent trades around the NBA. But how valuable does that truly make them? Gathered from 10 years worth of draft classes from 2013 to 2022, data shows that on average, out of the 30 players drafted in the second round, about 6 of them won't even suit up in the NBA. That's about 1 in every 5 players selected in the second round that will never see a minute of action in the league. Out of the 24 players who do make a roster in their rookie season, about 17 of them end up playing a second season in the NBA. Of those 17 players that are good enough to stick around for more than a few seasons, only about 8 of them will go on to be a role player or rotational level player. Go one step further, and on average, only 4 of these second round picks will become a starting caliber player in their career. That's about 1 in every 8 players selected in the second round. And finally, of the 298 players selected in the second round of the draft from 2013 to 2022, only 2 of them became all-stars: Nikola Jokic and Jalen Brunson. If we think about the last 10 years of second-round picks on a scale of box plus minus, with Nikola Jokic being on one end and the players who don't even make a roster on the other, then most players aren't in the middle. In fact, they're not even close. Most second-round picks fall way down here, somewhere in between what Basketball Reference would classify as an end-of-the-bench player and out of the league. When considering how to use a second-round pick, the idea of drafting a guy who ends up being a real contributing player, a starter, or even a future MVP, the perceived opportunity cost can tend to outweigh the actual value of the pick. Drafting a player of this caliber in the second round is like finding a diamond in the rough. But giving away a pick or a potential player that ends up being of this caliber would be a mistake that no front office wants to live with. But that doesn't change the fact that the vast majority of the time, these second-round picks in the NBA draft go on to be these end-of-the-bench level players. Just out of curiosity, does anyone know who the last few 55th overall picks in the draft were and how their careers are turning out? Last year's 55th overall pick has played 1 game in the NBA. The one before that has played 23 games in 2 seasons. The 55th pick in 2021, Aaron Wiggins, is actually having himself...
That's the same. Most people say nobody ain't worried about those picks. That's the whole point. You going to dip, shooting all this. Like, you said nobody would worry about them picks, but you talking about somebody's whole son. Bronny, they actually still, I believe he got some potential. That's the whole point of drafting. You recruit, you trying to draft them so you can see the potential upside. It's the 55th pick, so you shouldn't be tripping. Like, what we doing? It's the 55th pick, bro. You shouldn't be tripping. Nobody should be tripping about this thing, bro. Because you see, the fact you see Jimmy going through all this, he's showing this thing at the 55th pick of all these people. Like, that means obviously why y'all mad then.
Of a solid career so far, but the one before him is out of the league. The one before that one is also out of the league. he's also out of the league, out of the league, out of the league, was never in the league, out of the league, and out of the league. As a late second rounder, if Bronny can contribute on any level in the NBA, he has already exceeded his draft value. And that's really the proposition in all of this. It would be incredible if Bronny developed into a Davion Mitchell or Aaron Holiday caliber player. But the reality is if Bronny can provide any net positive value to his team, then selecting him in the draft will have been a great pick. There has never been a player projected to go this late in the draft with any expectations on what they should or will do in the league. These late draft picks have historically been reserved for players who might have been overlooked, players who maybe underperformed their potential at the collegiate level, players who organizations are willing to roll the dice on because there's virtually no opportunity costs associated with late second round picks. It's all upside at this point in the draft. If they don't work out, well, that's typical. If they do work out, well, then they've beaten the odds. And the very large point being overlooked in all of this talk about potential and value to the team and X's and O's, LeBron James has the opportunity to play basketball with his kid in the NBA. Let's just be honest. This is blatant nepotism. A classic case of it's who you know, not what you know. But nepotism has ran rampant in the NBA for decades, and no one cared. Countless players, coaches, executives, owners who got their shot with far less merit than Bronny had.
At that three, watch, he gonna get the opportunities, bro. He got the three, he got a mid-range, he got even a floater. And then he got that IQ, so it's like his dad's somewhat. He got some with the IQ. Seen some of it. He got with IQ, bro. It's there. And then he gonna play some defense. He can move left and right.
Yes. But now here we are sitting around talking about the integrity of a man who's played 21 seasons in the league and his son because they made the most of an otherwise paltry 55th pick in the draft, and the nepotism leaned in their favor this time around. We can criticize this decision all we want, preach about how this move was a breach of ethics, a slap in the face of the game we love. But then we would all be hypocrites, because there isn't a man on earth who would pass up on the chance to play in the NBA with his son, even if it meant pulling a few strings to make it happen. As much as Bronny benefits from sharing the same last name as arguably the best basketball player of all time, that tag has also came with equal scrutiny. We have never seen a late second round pick get discussed and limelighted like we've seen with Bronny. But we've also never seen a late second round flyer get completely dissected and criticized like this. LeBron and Bronny have a chance to do something that has never been done in the history of the NBA. And that is worth more than any late second round pick will ever be.
Hey, good video though, but I'm rooting for Bronny, man. There's potential, bro. There's there. Don't just think I just don't want to fall for the numbers, man. Just give him a chance, bro. Give him a chance, just like anybody else. Just let him give him a chance. If it don't work out. But I'm hoping it do, bro. With your dad, he gonna make sure they gonna be right. He got the potential. I'm forward to him achieving in it. It's gonna be special, bro. I'm rooting for Bronny, man. Make sure you like, subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next one.